Hey folks, Alan Saunders of Steelers Now here with another Steelers practice report from day 2. Well, day 3 of training camp, second practice training camp here at St. Vincent College. The Pittsburgh Steelers back on the practice field this morning for their second action on Friday. And again, the big story, no Russell Wilson for the second straight day. Didn't participate in practice, didn't even do any walkthroughs today. Head coach Mike Tomlin said after practice that he didn't have any kind of setback, that they were just being extremely cautious. And Russell Wilson said himself that if it was up to him, he would have been practicing these last 2 days, and that he's not worried about this becoming a long-term absence whatsoever. He feels that Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff are just being cautious. I think a lot of that makes sense, and obviously, look, the Steelers were going to find ways to get Justin Fields work with the first team no matter what throughout training camp anyway. There were probably going to be days where Russell Wilson was perfectly healthy and did nothing just so they could get Justin Fields this work that he's gotten these last 2 days. So from a team standpoint, no harm, no foul really at this point. One interesting aspect of this, though, Russell Wilson did clarify that he was injured on Wednesday during the team's conditioning test while he was pushing a sled. We see people push sleds all the time, linemen, tight ends, running backs occasionally. I can't tell you the last time I saw an NFL quarterback push a sled. That's a little bit unusual. And so Steelers have a new strength and conditioning coach that came from the college level at Boston College. Phil Matus is the name of the new strength and conditioning coach. So things happen. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean they did something wrong. Injuries can happen doing anything normal. We've seen guys tearing Achilles doing a footwork drill. Things just happen sometimes. But certainly something to keep an eye on, as they've done a lot of new and different things in terms of their practice cadence. Talked about that a little bit. Another morning practice, another shortened practice in terms of just the amount of team periods. I think I only counted 3 11-on-11 periods for the team today. So something to monitor as we get through 2024 training camp, and I believe we're going to see Russell Wilson back on the field sooner rather than later. Let's talk about the guys that were. We did get 7 shots to start practice today. More traditional beginning to the training camp session than we saw yesterday. Was tied 3-3 going to the last rep, so they put the first team offense and the first team defense back out there, and TJ Watt tipped Justin Fields past the line of scrimmage. Donte Jackson made sure that it did not get into the arms of, I believe it was Calvin Austin, down into the end zone. So the defense won 4-3. I think that does a pretty good job of characterizing the action here overall, where, again, I felt like the defense was better than the offense, but I thought things were a lot closer than they were yesterday. I thought Justin Fields had a very clean performance. There were not very many mistakes. He didn't have a ton of, oh my gosh, wow moments, but if you're Justin Fields, I think you take that. I think the Steelers, you take that. The big play of the day was an awkward one. He had the pocket kind of collapsed. It fell back. He kind of pushed him back. He tried to escape. There wasn't anywhere for him to go. He just kind of gave one of those George Pickens is down there somewhere looks and threw up a wobbler. And Pickens was down there in double coverage with Donte Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. I'm assuming that was like invert cover 2. Maybe someday we'll talk about that. But anyway, Pickens found the underthrown ball and the other 2 guys didn't. About 45 air yards and certainly would have been a touchdown. There was nobody near him when he caught the ball. So I believe that's the first big play we've seen in a team period, even though it's kind of a mixed up one. That's sort of the Justin Fields experience, right? You expect him to make plays in those extend the play scenarios, and he certainly did that. Today, we saw a little bit more running today. I still think that Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris both look like 2 of the best players in the offense. Pat Freiermuth continues to impress. He looked good in that 7 shots drill he had. DeShon Elliott was right on the border of pass interference. We'll say he was in the Tijuana of pass interference, so probably just on the other side of the border. But no refs here today, so it didn't get called. So that counted as a rep win for the defense. And Donte Jackson, those 2 guys, man, they are making all the big plays for the Steelers defense so far. The new additions to that secondary look great. And I know I mentioned yesterday, I was talking about the 2 new additions. Of course, I kind of sweeping Patrick Queen under the rug. I guess we all knew how good he is, right? He had a pass breakup today. DeMarvin Leal went up and got his hands on the ball. Logan Lee went up and got his hands on the ball. The Steelers defense is really making life miserable for these quarterbacks. And so that's definitely, to me, the theme. DeMarvin Leal has been great. I think he's been one of the best players in the defense for the first 2 days. Peyton Wilson, again, looked really good today. Talked to both of those guys after practice, and we'll have more from that at SteelersNow.com. And, of course, you'll have more from me and Zachary Smith on Steelers Afternoon Drive a little bit later. But we'll wrap things up for today here at St. Vincent College. Practice 2 in the books. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. Check out all the coverage from myself, Derek Bell, Chris Ward, the whole team at SteelersNow.com. Back with more on the afternoon drive.